And but we don't do intros. We do start our shows with a trade though. So here's a scenario for you. 12 team Superflex PPR 1.75 tight end premium start 10. Desmond Ritter in a 24 first, let's call it mid, or Dak Prescott in a 24 second.
Ooh, it's actually good. So the start 10 is an interesting layer into this. Normally this would be an easy go with the safe route of Dak Prescott. But the start 10, man, it's a tough trade with start 10. I think you could make a case of trying to hit a home run with Desmond Ritter and hoping that he could be Dak Prescott.
Right.
And then you get a 24 first to boot. That being said, I think the conservative play is probably what I would do in this situation is I would lean the Dak in the 2024 second. But if that trade was without that second, I would try to finagle just Desmond Ritter in 24 first.
Right.
Um,
Would this come down to your QB room too? Like, I feel like I'd be more apt to trade Dak Prescott for Ritter and a 24 first if Dak is my QB3 slash QB2,
100%.
if you have the flexibility there.
Yeah, I actually tried offering a trade like this so Dak is my QB4 technically. So I did offer a Desmond Ritter for a 24 first that I thought was early, that I thought was going to be early.
Right.
It got rejected, but that's kind of where I laid it out. I think that's a really good point. If it's QB3, QB4, stick with the Ritter side. If Dak's QB2, then I think you got to stay with Dak.
Right. Dude, let's get a baseline on you here, man. So how many dynasty leagues do you play in?
I stopped adding. So at this point, it's just whenever a league folds, I don't add anymore.
Right.
I'm down to 11 dynasty leagues, I think.
Oh, good for you. Good for you.
Yeah.
That's nice. Yeah, I'm
And I
trying
think
to
that's a
ditch
good number.
4 today. 11 is good. Yeah, because you can be like active in it, right? I mean,
Yes, absolutely.
that's the problem. It
Dude,
becomes brutal.
some people are like 80.
Scott has 60.
Yeah, I don't get that. I don't get how you could do that.
He's a robot though. He's not like
Yeah.
a real human.
Right.
All you have to do is see his avatar on Twitter. That's what we call Warp Scott. Wins over
Right.
replacement
He
players.
must have a lot of best ball leagues.
Well, he's growing his best ball portfolio. So he has, I think, 60 lineup leagues, like Dynasty.
Okay.
Yeah, I could be wrong. I mean, who knows? Maybe he's got 80 total with best ball in there. What's your favorite format? So Superflex, any tight end premium, number of starters.
If I could design the perfect league, it would be Superflex, 2 running back, 3 receivers, a tight end, premium of 2, and a point per first down instead of point PPR. I think point per first down is the most underrated format in all of fantasy football.
So like a half point for a first down?
Just no receptions. No receptions.
Oh, really?
No, just I'm okay doing half PPR, half point per first down. I prefer just having it be point per first down. Like it just the value of the first down is so much more than just like catching a pass. Right?
That's coming up. That's coming up a lot lately. Actually, Jax from Dino Game Theory, Jax from the Undroppables was on the other night, and same thing, man. He liked half PPR and then with I think a half point for first downs, but same gist, like how the 1 yard swing pass or whatever that doesn't go anywhere, that's worth the same amount as 4 yard gain for a first down, right up the middle. So I guess I don't know. Is it more towards like just rewarding a good football play? Is that how you say it?
Not even that. 4 yard gain for a first down in a PPR league is 0.4 points. That swing pass that gets negative yardage is 1 point. Like it's one catch for -1 yards is more than a first down carry on 3rd and 4 to keep the chains moving.
Yeah. So you said, okay, so how many starters? You said Superflex, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, a tight end. A tight end at 2.0.
Yep, 2.0. And then I like the idea of having 2 additional flex. So I like start 10 or more.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
no,
where
for
the
sure.
skill comes out. They start 8, it starts 7. Like I've seen some start 7s, 8s, 9s. 9 is like where I'm like, okay, I can live with it. 8 is just
Yeah.
like, no, no thanks.
Do you do point per carry leagues as well?
I do. I have a couple points so any league that I start that I'm the commissioner in is always some layer of point per carry or point per first down. I started with, it's funny because I started doing the point per carry, trying to offset the PPR. And then I was
Yeah,
like, well,
right.
why don't I just go half and half, like half PPR,
Yeah.
half first down? And I like that format more. It still emphasizes running backs more than receivers, but I like that more now considering it's harder to find those running back.
Right.
It's a harder problem to solve than just picking the best wide receivers and throw them in the lineup.
Yeah, and one thing that we're big on too, you said start 2 running backs. We like there to be a minimum of 2 running back starting requirement. Because if you make it 1 or 0, nope, everybody hates running backs as it is. Like you're
Yeah.
totally devaluing the position. Big people work.
Yeah.
Um, so what is your this is a question I like to ask too. So let's assume, yeah, format 12 team super flex, start 10, tight end premium, whatnot. What does your bench look like on your dynasty squads?
The more starters, the more depth.
Let's say it's 30 man rosters. Okay. So
Mhm.
just what does the breakdown look like in terms of number of backup QBs you have, extra wide receivers, tight ends, running backs? What does it look like?
Yeah. So this is a good question. Assuming that I'm in the middle of like competing, I like having a stable of quarterbacks actually. So like though that is where I like using my equity to upgrade positions, and I kind of like that Dak Desmond Ritter thing. I like having 3 or 4 quarterbacks and then just helping my roster by taking one of the higher end quarterbacks. That's my QB3,
Right.
reducing it to a lower end QB3, and then picking up picks along the way or a player. So I like taking shots on a lot of quarterbacks. Actually, you know what? We just did a
Pull it
league.
up, man. Pull it up.
Um, it's the Kings. It's part of the Expos, the Kings Classic Dynasty League, and
Yep.
uh, so we got like Ryan McDowell and Waz and Rich Rebar, Dotson, Graham Barfield, Curtis Patrick, some big hitters.
Some big dogs on there. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. And I we talked about this. I kind of punted year one in a sense. I picked up 4 first, but I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 quarterbacks. Excuse me, 7 quarterbacks. I have Lawrence Ritter, Russell Wilson, Malik Willis, Zach Wilson, Kyle Trask, um, and Matt Corral, who got cut. So like I have
Yep.
those 3 quarterbacks, and then if Malik Willis ends up being anything, or Zach Wilson ends up being anything, Kyle Trask wins the job at some point. I always have something that I can throw away into a deal. And then I
Yep.
have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 8 running backs, probably 12 receivers, and 4 tight ends.
There you go.
So I obviously you need in leagues like this, you need a stable of receivers because you're starting 3 and most of them you're throwing in your flex. So
Sure.
I try to pick up as many wide receiver 3s that could move up to wide receiver 2. And just looking at equity, all I want to do is take draft players that are wide receiver 5s that I could see equity growth and trade them as if they're a wide receiver 4 or
Yeah.
3, and just
Yeah.
keep recycling that. Um,
Exactly.
but yeah, I have a decent team considering
What
that
what
I've
spot were
traded.
you in? What spot were you in? And yeah, what were
I
your moves to be
was,
able to get all those first?
yeah, so great question. So I was the 108, I believe. Actually, you know what? I'll tell you right now. So I was the one, oh, no, that was the, here, startup. I was the 107. And then the usual suspects at quarterback went
Sure.
Mahomes, Lamar, Josh Allen, Burrow, Herbert, Hurts, and then I was left with Lawrence, Fields, or Jefferson. Is really what it came down to.
What
I
was
took
the how many points per passing touchdown?
It is 4.
It's 4, and you took T Law over Fields.
I took T-Law over Fields. I feel like I worry about Fields. The way that
Sure.
he scores his points is setting him up for potential injury. It's just, and I still don't trust him as a true quarterback. His ceiling is ridiculous, right?
Sure.
But I think I kind of view it as, sure, his ceiling is Jalen Hurts, and Trevor Lawrence is more of like he could be a Justin Herbert, a little
Yeah,
bit higher
Justin
than Justin
Herbert,
Herbert,
Joe
right?
Burrow. Hmm.
Yeah. So I just feel more comfortable with that, especially in a league like this with a lot of sharks. Like I like taking home run shots, but I don't want to take a home run shot in the first round. Like I like going as conservative with upside as possible early, which is why I took the opportunity to trade my picks.
So
It's just
you took Lawrence at 107, and then you traded out of the second and out of the third. Did you
I
bail from both of those to be able to get
I
some first?
yeah, I traded out of. I'll tell you exactly what I did. I traded out
Yeah,
of. I traded out of the second, so I traded 206 for 604 and a 2024 first.
nice.
I traded the 307 for the 802 and a 2024 first. I traded the 406 for the 805 and a 2024 first. And then I traded 507, 1111. Oh, excuse me. So I traded 507, 1111, and 1507 to go 704, 809, and 1304 to kind of
You have
consolidate
some great
that.
cluster there. Yeah,
Yeah.
in that eighth round, eighth, ninth, 10th.
Yep. And then I picked up an extra third by going from 907 to 1001. So I picked up the 2024 third by doing that, which I love, just moving down 4
Sure.
spots and
Yeah.
picking up a third. And then with those picks, I have Lawrence at 1, and then, or at 7, and then at 604, interestingly enough, you'd think like, oh, I'd go receiver, but the receivers were picked through. So at 604, I took Dobbins. At 606, I took Chubb. And then at 704, I took the 109, which ended up being Quentin Johnston. And then 707, I took George Pickens. 802, I took Russell Wilson. 805, I took 111, which ended up being, geez, I can't remember now. It ended up being Zay Flowers.
Kendre Miller, Zay Flowers. Oh, nice. Yeah,
Zay
yeah,
Flowers. And then at 806, the pick after, I took Desmond Ridder. So I have Wilson as my QB2, and this allows me to backdoor into a title run if some of these shots that I've taken on players, and if I have Dobbins and Chubb, if they stay healthy and they produce and I don't find a home for them, who knows? I took Chig at 809 in tight end premium. I followed it up with Dulcich at 1001, and then I took 202 at 1006. So the 202, and that ended up being A-Chain. And then Wan'Dale Robinson at 1206, Romeo Doubs at 13, Nico Collins, one of my favorite picks in the draft, at 1307, Khalil Herbert at 1406, Justin Ross at 1606. That actually might end up being a really good. This was back in June, so that might actually end up being a really good pick if he pans out. I took Terrace Marshall at 1806. I took the 312, and the 312 ended up being, I think it was Demario Douglas.
Is that a real person? That's not a
Demario
real
Douglas.
person.
Yeah. The Patriots.
Yeah.
He made the roster. 1907. Also one of my favorite picks. Jake Ferguson.
Okay.
Gus Edwards. Gus Edwards to handcuff Dobbins at 20. And then I took Malik Willis. And this is where I took a bunch of quarterbacks, which I love doing. I took Malik Willis, Kyle Trask, Zach Wilson. And then I ended up finishing with like Keontae Ingram and Greg Dortch. So you can kind of see how I put Cole Turner, 2707. That I'm actually end up being a decent pick with the way things are panning out.
So the move with the quarterbacks, have you had success selling those? We call them trash cans, trash cans in your case. Do you have luck selling them for like a third if somebody needs a spot start? Is that why you hoard them? And also like a throw in, you said in like a trade package if it has any kind of value for that other league mate. But is that the plan?
Yeah. So I kind of think about it very logically in a sense where, like, I took Zach Wilson at 2507. Okay. And when I think about it, when you have the rookie pick 507, like Mitch Trubisky, Brevin Jordan, Tommy Tremble, Donald Parham, you think about that. What's really the upside with any of those guys?
No, they're roster cloggers.
Right. But if Aaron Rodgers plays just this season and decides to hang him up, and Zach Wilson's the guy, or at least rumored to be the guy, I could just take him and trade him for a third, if a second, worst case scenario, trade him for a third.
Yeah.
But I turn the 2507 into a third. Same thing with Malik Willis. Like Malik Willis, I love at 2107 over Marcus Mariota or Colt McCoy or Allen Robinson, Foster Moreau, you know.
Yeah.
And the reason why I like him there is like this guy 2 years ago was looked at being the 101. Actually, a year and a half ago, they're talking about him being the 101, and he's fallen from grace. But if Tannehill gets hurt, Malik Willis could conceivably say, "Hey, I had a
Yeah.
redshirt year. I struggled, but now I'm the guy. I can immediately flip him for a second. And if I don't, and he has a good few games, I can flip him for a first." So I'm always trying to
Yeah.
think of those late round picks. If I can turn those picks in the 20s into seconds, what is the likelihood, or if this person hits, can I get a second or more out of that player? That's the vision that I have.
Right. Right. No, I love it. Yeah, the Malik Willis, every single time I hear that name, we did one of our listener league startups and we did the rookie draft before the NFL draft. Yeah, I definitely took Brees Hall 101, Malik Willis 102. Yeah, good talk there. That hasn't worked out thus far. Let's say that. So let's pull up a question from the audience here. We got 110 people joining us, even though it's just me. It's just Clay here. No Scott, no Shane. So it's kind of a bummer when people pop in. We got Izzy joining us. This is going to be fun. Izzy's a cool, chill guy. I've been a fan. He hasn't known me like at all, but I've known him creeping in the background here. Rich Jones III has a question for us. Here's a shallow one. 10 team, 1 QB, PPR, start 9. Just got this accepted today. Pits a 24 second for Mixon, Michael Thomas, and the 24 first. Thoughts? He didn't list tight end premium, so let's assume it's not.
Not tight end premium. 10 team, start 9. Yeah, non-tight end premium, you're trying to, the best asset in this right now is Pitts, followed closely by the 24 first. I think
Right.
those, you can make a case that they're pretty close to even if it's mid. And then at that point, I'd rather have Mixon and Michael Thomas for a 24 second. So I like the 24 first side.
You'll take the 24 first side, huh?
Yeah. And it's just because it's one quarterback. So actually that one quarterback is going to reduce that value, that first, but then that second becomes almost, it's probably closer to a third in a normal Superflex league. It's 10 team. So
Yeah.
and if it's not tight end premium, I view it in saying like you can easily replace the age of Michael Thomas and Mixon in a 10 team league. It's just, I'm more comfortable having older players in a 10 team league and start 9 is because it's easier to recycle
Lots of stuff on
players.
waivers. Lots of stuff on waivers. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's 2 less teams drafting in each round. So you could pick up decent players. So, and I've never been big on the tight end side of things and non-tight end premium. So I'll always lean to the equity of the picks.
Yeah. No. So Desmond Ritter, I put that trade up first because I listened to your most recent pod, and you were talking about Desmond Ritter, and I was like, okay, because we're Drake London fans here, we're Kyle Pitts fans, but everybody has that question, Desmond Ritter, is he going to be any good? So, what are your thoughts though on Drake London? So his value can be all over the place depending on your league, your mileage may vary, but obviously had some great peripheral numbers. But then again, the question is Desmond Ritter. Do you think he's going to be successful in that offense? Just draft a Bijan running back awfully high. They want to run the ball. What do you think?
Yeah, I find it difficult with Drake London, and it's really just kind of where he is. I'd rather have in his pocket. I'd rather have like a Devonta Smith. I'd rather pay up a little bit more and get a Chris Olave.
Yep.
So where he is amongst his peers, I'd rather pay up a little bit more and get a T Higgins. Pay up a little bit more and get a Jalen Waddle. So I just feel more comfortable with the players that are around him. I think he'll be fine. I do feel that there's going to probably be some inconsistencies. It's either going to be Pitts or London. I don't know if both of them eat, especially with Bijan there. I'm guessing Bijan's going to get 80 to 100 targets out of the backfield.
Sure.
He should.
Sure.
If you're drafting him that high, he's going to. And then when they get into the red zone, are they running the ball or are they passing the ball? And I'm guessing they're probably going to use, once again, Bijan in those circumstances. They have Algier there who's still really good. I just don't know if there's enough, even if Ritter is good and he's a high-end QB2, Desmond Ritter needs to be a QB1, I feel like, to be able to support Bijan, Pitts, and Drake London in that offense. So somebody's got to suffer. I don't want to gamble on guessing on who it is, so I'd rather take the other known players like a Devonta Smith or a Chris Olave. To be fair, though, I kind of said the same thing about the Philadelphia pass catchers last year.
Yeah.
I didn't think Jalen Hurts could support Goddard and then 2 receivers, and he did that and some.
Yes.
So if Ritter is the real deal, he can. It's just I love Ritter's value being drafted like 30th out of the quarterbacks, like 28 to 30.
Yep.
And it's like there's so much upside there, very little downside with that. So I don't need him to be a world beater to return value.
Sure.
But I don't want to put all my eggs into the Ritter basket.
So Drake London and a 25 first, call it a random 25 first, or Chris Olave.
Super flex.
Yep.
I feel like you have to go with Drake London in this situation. They're closer than a 25 first would suggest. So at that point, I think Olave, I think they're both, as talent, I think they're both the real deal. Sure. And I don't think Olave's situation is that much better with Carr. The only thing that's better is he doesn't have Drake London and Bijan there.
Yeah,
so he's probably the guy, unless Michael Thomas has a renaissance. But I feel like the future is clear. It's Olave's team. If he's the real deal. With Drake London, it could be Pitts. So I'll take Drake London and I'll stow the first. I love trades like that where I can stow picks and get comparable talents.
Yeah.
And then see what happens.
That's our slogan, man. Process over players. We're all about doing those process trades where we do tier downs, get some value on top, and you're not losing too much points per game wise. So let's go to another one from the crowd here. We have okay, yeah, this was a good question earlier, and I always had this one too. DTC Calc and Dynasty Trades in 5 chats. What is this? Rarely do people talk about 4-point and 6-point per passing touchdowns like they do with tight end premium point per carry. Is the change not enough to matter? Just assume 4 points is standard. Yeah. So how does it work with the calculator? I know the answer. It's 4. So what is the difference to you between 4-point and 6-point? We established earlier you still went Trevor Lawrence over Justin Fields in a 4-point per passing touchdown, but what is the math there? What's the difference really between 4 and 6?
I think it's pretty significant in a super flex league, because you could essentially, if you have 2 quarterbacks that are more like it helps the value of the non-rushing quarterbacks.
Yep.
Right. It offsets some of that, because now every touchdown that let's say, so it makes up 20 yards of rushing. So if Kirk Cousins gets, if he has 32 touchdowns in a season and Jalen Hurts has 20, right? That's an extra 24 points. That's 240 yards subtracted from Jalen Hurts' rushing, right? To offset that.
Got it.
And so I do like 6-point for passing touchdowns. The thing is, if you ever, it ends up being a cheat code for, like, if Josh Allen has a Josh Allen upside year where he's rushing for 600-700 yards.
Right.
And then also passing for 30 plus touchdowns.
Throwing a million touchdowns.
Yeah, that makes it really tough. Like Jalen Hurts last year, I think, had 21 touchdowns, maybe. I'd have to look. So it kind of brings those guys closer to the rest of their peers. I don't mind the 6-point per passing touchdowns, but it's only going to inflate the value of the top 8. So right now we have in Dynasty, we have a big value issue with it's the top 8 or 9 quarterbacks and then maybe a drop off and then a couple receivers and then a drop off. If you institute that 6-point passing touchdown, that gap gets larger. It doesn't get smaller.
Yeah. Right. Yep. No, that's always a question I have too. It is funny because I've set up a couple leagues where it's like, I don't know if I want it 4 or 6, I just make it 5. And people are like, what is this 5 bullshit? It's like, I don't know, man. It's like in between. It's like, do you want Kirk Cousins more now?
Doesn't it seem more reasonable to just have it as 5? Like 5 is like it's not a round number, but it's like it's divisible by 10 and all, it's like it makes sense. But even when fantasy football first started, and I get the touchdowns were 6, so they make it worth 6. But then the quarterbacks went to 4. But it's like, why would you go to 4? Why don't you go to 5 or 3? Like 5 would have been a more easier number to digest. And 3 would have been half of 6. Boom, 4. And we ended up here. Now it's like normal. Like everybody uses 4.
Yeah. Oh, we got Nate Liss in the house. We had him on the other night. Good dude there. Here, let's put this one up from Ryan C. So 12 teams start 8, 1 QB PPR, traded for Burrow plus Najee plus a 24 third, gave up Roshan, Deshaun Watson in 2 seconds. I'm a contender. Which side? So it's a 1 QB.
Yeah, start 8 too.
2 seconds. I mean, do you have to go the Najee side just for the like guaranteed touches there? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at a league like this where you're starting 8, 1 quarterback. As you can almost play this as seasonal.
Yeah, right. You treat it like redraft. Just get hammers.
Yeah. So like I'd probably take the Najee side of this because the Burrow Watson Burrow's obviously a little bit higher, but in 1 quarterback league, it is what it is. But Najee, he outweighs the Roshan in the 2 seconds. So
right.
I'd probably take and I'm one of those that Nate Liss is in the house. I'm in a league with him, and I have Najee. I wouldn't mind getting out from under him, but in a league like this, there's no risk in really holding on to him. I'll just ride him out and see what happens. And if you're a contender, that's the side you want to be on.
Yeah. What's So we had a stream on Tuesday night, like we always do. We started off by talking about Jonathan Taylor because everybody's talking about fucking Jonathan Taylor right now.
Yeah.
Where's your head at? What is your play with them? Actionable advice for what to do with Jonathan Taylor.
I feel like the window to sell was a couple weeks ago. Now you got to hope that he comes back after 4 games. And then as soon as he comes, I'm dumping him. Like I'm getting out from under Jonathan Taylor. To be fair, I got out from under Jonathan Taylor with just 1 share. So I don't mind. I had a few shares. I got down to 1 this year because of my whole philosophy is once you've played a couple of years and you're still in the top 5 in dynasty value and dynasty ranks at the position, especially at running back, I want to get out from under.
It's time to go. Yeah,
it's time to go. So, but I don't mind holding 1 share in case I'm wrong and they're otherworldly for a long time. But I think now is you hold on to him. You've made your bed. You hold on to him, hope he returns. But when he returns, you take that equity that he's gained and then you move him as soon as you can. Because I just don't – he's been in a hoodie for the whole season, the whole year.
Yeah, he has to pass a physical, with those he's missing 4 games minimum, right?
4 games minimum, but he hasn't practiced. He hasn't done anything really for the Colts from what it sounds like. And then you expect him to come in off the streets and go ham. I don't think that's going to happen. And I don't know if the Colts bring him in week 5 and just give him the bulk. I don't know what they're going to do with him. So I don't hate somebody taking their medicine here and shipping him now. But I think the better gamble is to just wait a few weeks.
Would you sell him or buy him for a 24 first projected late? You think it's a playoff first? Will you give that for Jonathan Taylor?
Yeah, I only giving up first. Like that's like one of my rules,
especially for running backs. Oh, that's your thing. You just don't like giving up first.
I don't. If it's a slam and deal, I'll do it.
Yeah,
but like Jonathan Taylor right now there's as good of a chance that he's a descending asset throughout the course of the year than he is an ascending one. So
that's a good point.
It's not a big enough. Like if I'm trading my 24 first, I'm trading it and then I think it's going to be late, I'm trading it for a player that I know is going to help me this year. So
Yep.
it's too big of a risk to put that on Jonathan Taylor. So I'd probably fade that, even though it's the right value-wise, it's the right decision, but I don't want to go down with that. I have an asset that's going to increase in value guaranteed. I don't want to take that guarantee and dump it into an asset that could depreciate significantly, and I get
Yeah.
zero production out of it along the way.
Yeah, that would suck too, to give up your 24 first, and then he just doesn't play. But so the team that I was thinking about doing it, I did offer a 24 first straight up. I want to say I have a contending team. I went YOLO with this listener league startup. We're like just finished it. I'm talking like, Christian McCaffrey, Travis Kelce, Eckler. I did one of those
Oh,
teams.
yeah.
And I was like, well, I'll probably make the playoffs unless everybody dies. Should I give up my 24 first for Jonathan Taylor just to see what happens? I made the offer. It was turned down. And I was like, do I tack on Tank Bigsby to the projected late 24 first for JT? But it's like, why am I doing this? Right? Like, why am I doing this? I'm making an unnecessary bet. It's like, why am I already looking towards the fact that Austin Eckler and CMC are going to be old and even less valuable next year? But hey, now I've got Jonathan Taylor to backfill. I don't know. Just getting greedy, having too much fun with that one.
I mean, if you take a gamble like that and you give up your 24 first, then you'd probably want to pivot and say, do I then trade, like, do I take Christian McCaffrey and then trade him down to a Derrick Henry and then pick up a 24 first in return? So then I've filled in my 24 first. I've gotten that 24 first back. And then if Jonathan Taylor comes back, I got Henry and Jonathan Taylor replacing Christian McCaffrey.
Right.
Something in that pocket. But then you got to create several deals, and it's just not very likely in a lot of leagues.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull up this startup too, if I can find out a way. Or I'll pull up my team here and I'll share my screen. But yeah, just for a sec here. I think a couple people have seen this, but I like to get I never draft like this. That's why this is fun. So we'll go to sleeper share. Okay, can you see this, Izzy?
Yeah.
So yeah, I went Lamar Jackson, CMC, Eckler, DK, Keenan Allen, Travis Kelce, Madison, Charbonnet. I did get a couple quarterbacks, so I wanted to lock up Rodgers and Carr. I'm trying to think exactly where I got them, but I always like to have 3 quarterbacks. Lock that up and then go from there. But I mean, you can see how I went super old. But down here, I tried to hammer some running backs, Algier. And then, I mean, my wide receivers are like such trash, though. I mean, we're looking at Claypool, freaking Michael Gallup, DK Metcalf, Keenan Allen. I don't know. So when you look at this team, are you like, yeah, I'll give up my 24 first? Or what do you think? No, keeping it.
I wouldn't, because you're ready. I think about my rosters and I say, okay, how set up am I for 2 years from now? If I have pieces that can backfill, I'm okay having aged players. And you can look at Jonathan Taylor as being, well, if I give up my late 24 first, and this is probably the right way to look at it, which could change my perspective a little bit in a contending format. If Jonathan Taylor doesn't play, I'm actually going to backtrack. I would do the deal, because if Jonathan Taylor doesn't play, and I put Jonathan Taylor in the draft next year, he's probably going to go as it stands right now, the 107.
105-ish.
107 worst case, because now he's going to be a little bit older. He sat out I'm talking about sitting out the whole year. I think 107 is probably fair, considering the talent that's projected to come out. For sure, he's outside the top 3.
Yeah.
And then depending on how it shakes out, we could be talking 5 would be, I think, the ceiling of where he would be. But then you get the ability to say, well, if he does come back, well, then now I'm inserting him into my lineup. So I will retract my statement. I would do that deal, a late 24 first, or I would for Jonathan Taylor. It doesn't sound like you can make that happen, but I would do that, considering that thought.
Yeah, I can keep pushing her. I can keep pushing her to see if she'll do it. Well, whatever. She did that move where she's like, "No, I'm not going to do that," but left the offer hanging. You know that move?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah. That says a lot right there. Or it's just her leaving it up and not taking it down. But whatever the case may
Yeah.
be, yeah, I think I'm like right there with you. It's tough, but again, kind of fuck it with that league. So Jackson has an inbox offer. So as it sounds, this offer is sitting in his inbox. And it looks like he's a doctor or some shit. Look at that avatar. He looks all fancy.
Scientist or doctor? What do you
Maybe a
think?
scientist.
It's a funky tie though.
He doesn't look like it's nerd alert enough for scientist. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. Jackson, let us know in the chat or don't if you're weirded out here.
Dr.
So
Stoltenberg. That's got it.
Dr. Stoltenberg,
Oh, okay.
I mean, it sounds official as long as he has
Yeah.
the bedside manner. Uh, so the inbox trade is give Josh Allen and Garrett Wilson, get Dak, Jamar Chase, and a 25 first.
God damn. No, I'd probably stick on the
Keeping left
Josh
side.
Allen and Garrett Wilson side on that. It just the delta between Dak and Josh Allen is just too big. It's much bigger than just the 25 first. And then you do have the jump from Chase to Wilson, but I'd much like Jamar's reached his ceiling in terms of where his value
Sure.
could be. It's not going to get any higher than this. So I don't mind pivoting to a Wilson in a situation like this, and keeping Allen, because Wilson,
Yeah.
it's likely, or there's a good chance that Wilson could get closer to Jamar as the season goes on, as opposed
Sure.
to the gap widening. So, but Dak is not closing that gap on Josh Allen, most likely. So I'm keeping that side. I would not give that up for Dak and Jamar.
Yeah, I wouldn't give that up either, I don't think. But man, every time you see Jamar Chase and a first on the same side, you're like, that's not normally the case. But
But think
it,
about
it
it. How often look at all the receivers every year that they go into year two and everybody wants a piece of that. You don't get that at the quarterback position. It's like you get one guy
yep,
every year two tops that is like, okay, I think we got a guy and he's going to
yep,
be elite.
yep.
So it's just, you got to go with the rarity in this case, and that's Josh Allen.
Yeah, no, I agree. And with a trade like this too, I always look at it and it's like, okay, what's the idea here? Like whether it's Dr. Stoltenberg's, trade that well, it sounds like he's on the receiving side of it, but what's the goal? Like, does the person want Josh Allen, or you know what I mean? There's a lot of big pieces in there. Is there a way to, shrink it down, tighten it up a little bit? So let's move that one there. We've got Shane said he's recording a show at the moment, recording Dynasty Trades HQ. We had Scott in the crowd as well. We'll get them on next time with you for sure. Let's see here. So let's go to this one. And he said this is a start 12. Thayer Prum, thank you for the question. 12-team Superflex, half PPR, half point per first down, start 12. QBs are T-Law, Bryce Young. Running backs, Javante, Pacheco, Rashad, plus handcuffs for each of those RBs. Wide receivers, Cup, DK, Olave, Godwin, Ridley, Dio John, who's Deontay Johnson.
I love
that. And Myers. So tight ends, Andrews. Strong contender or pretender? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I look at the quarterbacks in the he has the receivers to contend, and I love the receivers. I like Deontay Johnson. I'd probably, with a team like this, I would probably try to dump a Godwin, a young Godwin combination to upgrade my quarterback.
Yep.
If it's taking a shot on a Deshaun Watson and saying, hey, if Deshaun's legit, great, and try to get Watson in something small, if you can squeeze something out, like another cuffed running back, RB2, in a backfield.
Right.
But you got to do something to address the quarterback situation. I'm not a big Young fan, and I want to protect that first round, that 102 or 103. I'm guessing that's where Young went. I want to protect that 103. And if I can protect that 103, I could pair Godwin in that 103 to improve the quarterback that I have. And maybe Watson isn't enough. You need a little bit more. But if you're jumping, you can't get anything more than that. I don't think you're creeping up into the fields. I don't think you're getting fields for that. And I don't
Yeah.
think you're getting, so you almost have to gamble on Watson and saying, hey, Godwin is a descending asset. I love Godwin as a
Yep.
talent, but I think he's a descending asset. And
Sure.
I think Watson has a better chance of being a top 10 quarterback moving forward than Young does, because we've seen it happen and he's still relatively young. So that's the move that I'd be trying to make. And then at that running back, you just got to pray that you have enough backup running backs there to fill in gaps.
Yeah.
I don't mind a structure like this, honestly. So I'd say this is a strong contender if you compare a Young and Godwin for a better quarterback. Before the injury, I probably would have said you take Cup and Young and you go up into that next tier, because Cup is also he's only going down from here. Now
Yeah.
you're getting great production out of him when he's healthy, but if you can take Young and Cup and get into that, I don't know if it's enough
Can
to
you
get like a
get
Herbert.
Herbert?
Maybe
Yeah.
if I don't know, maybe,
It's
but
worth a shot.
unlikely. It's worth a shot to try, but yeah, even a team like this taking a Godwin and something, going after a Kyler even, or a Cup for, you could have tried something crazy like a Cup for a Kyler at the time and said, hey, I could try to keep things going, and then
Yeah.
once Kyler came back, I'd have Young as my QB3 and Kyler as my QB2. Something creative
That
like
would be
that.
nice. Yeah, that would be ideal. Where Kyler's going these days in some startups, you see some crazy things on Twitter, like how far he's dropping. It's absurd. Like in the
Yeah.
fourth and fifth round. Yeah, he's gonna be, Shane said it the other day, he's gonna be a first round startup pick next year.
Yeah. At
Like
worst second, at worst mid second.
at
Yeah.
worst, yeah. So I don't know. It's such a fickle community, as you
We
very
saw the
much
same thing
know.
with Deshaun, dude. Like, we knew Deshaun was coming back, and people were trading him for seconds, late first for not filling running backs, but running backs that don't have
Yeah,
pedigree, right? And the market is very slow, even when we know something's going to happen. The only time the market is ahead of the game is picks. It's the only time they're always valued is picks, because we know
yeah.
it's coming. But we don't see the obvious stuff like players coming back from injury. It just never happens.
Yeah, and Lamar, like he
Mhm.
was getting trashed when he didn't have a contract. Everybody knew he was going to get paid by someone. Then all of a sudden he gets this massive contract, and boom, it's rocket ships up for Lamar. It's like, what the, like, he was always good at football, right? I know he
Yeah.
gets injured and stuff, but yeah, we're higher than lots on Deshaun Watson over here at Dynasty Trades in 5. He's still a good football player and is still young, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. If he just stays away from the anal oils, I think everybody will be fine. So that one, Jake, I couldn't read earlier. Let me pull up. We had a super chat here from, who was it? Mark West. Thank you very much, sir. 10 team half PPR, 1 QB start 8. So ultra shallow here. Traded Najee, Jalen Warren, Moss for Deshaun Watson, Roshan, or is that Deshaun or is it maybe Christian Watson? It's a 1 QB. Watson, Roshan, the first. Now have Lamar Jackson, Ken Walker, Gibbs, Dotson, Andrews, 324 first. How did I do?
And he didn't actually describe which Watson, because he didn't put it in the now have
Yeah,
section.
yeah, exactly. That's what I was hoping I was going to see it pop up over there.
Who do you want to assume it is? Christian?
I want to assume it's Christian Watson, right? I don't know. Matt, if you're still
Maybe.
in here, help us out. Oh, there we go. For my trade above, hey, I see you in here, Matt West. What Watson is it? My trade above, the JT owner got nervous, so I sold Najee to him for some value. It might be a mid to late first, but you never know. So
So,
we'll wait on what he says. Let's assume it's Christian Watson for now.
okay, so
Yep,
let me
it's
see that
Christian
again.
Watson, he says.
Yeah, I'd take the Christian Watson, and I'm not a big Christian Watson guy, to be honest with you. But I, even though this, once again, a super shallow league, you could point to Najee. He is the best piece in this. But with Christian Watson and a first, I feel like you could take those two pieces and get better than what Najee's value is.
Yeah.
And then Roshan greater than Warren and Zach Moss. So I like the Watson first side, even though I'm not a Watson fan.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, here's one from Shane. Shane spending our money. YouTube gets 45%. I like Izzy's beard, is what Shane has to say.
He's got a decent beard.
Shane does. You know what's funny about Shane? So I was with him. It was only the second time I had seen him in person, even though we've been on a show for almost 2 years. Shane has the nicest calves ever. It is wild. He's like a calf model. It's bizarre. It's like the huge calves, well formed. It's almost like he shaves them too. Like, I don't know what's going on. Great calves on that Shane guy. You'd never think so.
I spend most of my time looking at Shane's groin area, so I've missed the calves.
I hear you. Okay, here's another inbox trade from Gavin Queen. 12 teams, start 10, Superflex, full PPR. Give Brees Hall 25 first, 25 second. Get Jamar Chase. Deeper at wide receiver than RB, so not sure. Thanks. Chase. Right?
Yeah, it says deeper at wide receiver than running back, so not sure. Yeah, I mean, it's Chase is the play here. I mean, it's the better of the two sides in terms of value. This kind of goes to the same conversation that we were having with Brees Hall. It's his value is only going to get better over time. But I'm good with this being on the Chase side, even though I don't like acquiring players at the peak of their value. Like in a situation like this, I'd probably lean in as a 25 first and second. I'd probably try to give up Brees to try to get Brees in a second to try to get like a Olave and Stowe the first. Even then, if I'm framing it that way, it feels like it's still too good of a deal for Jamar Chase, because I think Olave in a 25 first is still not enough to get Chase.
No.
So it would have to be a 24 first that you feel pretty good about to doing that with. So I'll go with the Jamar Chase side.
Yeah, it's funny listening to, because you do like inherently just like to hold on to the first, it seems like, or find a way to get around not having to trade a first away.
And
You're
you
looking
can
at Brees in the second, and you totally can. Yeah,
you can. And even this, I would take Jamar Chase, and I wouldn't mind taking Jamar Chase and then trying to flip Jamar Chase for, like I was saying, Olave, and then extra pieces of 24 first and something else. So I've turned the Brees in a 25 first for Olave and a 24 first, right? And plus something else. If I can do that, I'm very big on protecting equity.
So what are you doing then in that startup that we were going over, where you collected, what was it, 3 additional 24 first? Was it 3 or 4? 4.
F4.
Okay, so what are you going to do with those first then? I mean, do you just require a big time overpay? Especially, I mean, the season hasn't even started. It's about to, thank goodness. But are you requiring like a serious overpay? Do you oftentimes make those picks on the clock? Is what you find yourself doing?
Not often. So what I've noticed in startups over the years of doing this is that in the startups, people get a lot of butterflies looking at their team. They get really excited. And then the season goes on and they realize, oh shit, I'm not going to make it. Right. Then the end of the season goes and they look at their roster and like, shit, my team's not very good at all. And then they start looking at trying to pick up firsts to improve their team. And then that's when you get the overpays for those picks.
Yep.
So I'm always willing to trade those firsts that I acquire, but I want it to get closer to the draft, as close to the draft as possible. I don't like doing it when I like doing it on the clock, but it's hard to move all 4 firsts on the clock.
Yeah.
So I might try to move 1 or 2 before the draft for players that I like to pivot off of the risk of the rookies. But every market, every league market is so different.
Yep.
The nuances and how the owners play Dynasty is so different. But I will definitely try to move 1 or 2 of those picks prior to the draft, maybe right after the combine. So I feel like we have this window right after the combine where everybody gets excited over certain players that they think, oh, this person's going to be around at 106, 107.
Yeah.
And then you can flip one for something pretty good. So, yeah, the world is your oyster at that point. That's why I like the flexibility of picks. It's like you can do so much. Everybody wants them. Nobody's going to be like, I don't want that pick. It's like everybody wants a draft pick.
Yeah, no, they're so they're so fungible is a word we use a lot. Shane says he came up with the word fungible. I don't know. It's not confirmed. It's not confirmed. Yeah. All right, let's go to that'll work for me. Jed Tatiano. How do you say that? Taitano? What would you say there? Titano? Yep.
I'd say Taitano. Yeah. Taitano. Let's go with Taitano.
Let's go with Taitano. 12-team, 1 QB, full PPR, start 8, no premium. Traded Pitts and a mid to late 24 second for Devontae Smith and an early 24 third. Did I get enough for Pitts? Thank you, gentlemen. A lot of Pitts movement in the crowd today.
Yeah, I think that's enough for Pitts. Yeah. I mean, you're basically trading Pitts for Devonta Smith straight up.
Yeah.
I'm good with it. I like Devonta Smith a lot. And no premium. You don't necessarily need to have a Kyle Pitts, even if he is legit. So I'd probably, damn it, I don't know. If I have a stable of receivers that are really good, I'll do it. I'll keep Pitts. But if I could use the receiver help and I have a decent tight end like a Freiermuth, I'm okay with making a trade like this. What I have noticed about people that are tuning in here is we need to upgrade the quality of these leagues, boys. I've seen a lot of one quarterbacks, a lot of shallow leagues. We gotta upgrade that.
Yeah, so we have a bunch of subs, a bunch of our tribe members, we call them, who play 1 QB. We're trying to spread the good word, spread the good news that is Superflex, but
it's possible. So just for everybody out there, I've been playing Dynasty a long time. Superflex was not a thing until the last 8 to 10 years. And I've converted my home league from a 1 quarterback to a Superflex. I converted it from no tight end premium to tight end premium. So it's possible. You have to do it years in advance. So, hey, in 2 years,
at least 2 years,
2 years, we're going Superflex. So plan accordingly. And same thing with tight end premium. But it makes the league so much more fun when the quarterbacks actually have value.
It does, and more starters, because it's nice when you have like the good flex players. I always use Tyler Boyd as an example, or freaking Hunter Renfrow of old. Like start 11, start 12, like they mean something. Like they have some value. And if you're in a startup like you did, trading back into that 8th, 9th, 10th, getting clusters there, you're going to get a lot of those types.
Yeah.
So it was Titano. I don't know what we went with, but Titano is how we say his name.
I think I said Titano. I think I got it.
I think I got it. Let's go. Cha-ching. No, what was I going to say too? Yeah, and another thing too with the format. So Scott always talks about this, like the proportion of the total roster size to the number of starters. He says even if it's a 1 QB or whatnot, you want to have like 33 to 40%, I think is the number that he uses of starters.
So say it again.
33 to 40% of the roster is the starting lineup. So the rest is the balance, is bench.
Okay. So if you're starting 10, you need to have 30.
Yeah. So he thinks that's an efficient market to where there's enough.
Said that,
Scott, yeah, like it's efficient in terms of there's some action on the waiver wire. It's not, a super shallow start 8, start 9, and you've got, 25 bench spots, something big like that. So there's some market there.
I don't mind leagues that 30, there's nothing on the waiver. If you're in 12 team, 30 players, there's nothing on the waiver wire.
Nope.
8 out of those 12 teams are leaving with $60-$70 in reserves in waiver budget every year. So I think personally, in my experience, 26, 27, 28 roster spots is just about right. But 30 is a lot. I don't mind it, but it's a lot.
It is a lot. Do you do taxi squads, or do you just have extra bench spots?
Anybody in my leagues listening?
You have thoughts on this clearly.
I freaking hate. I hate maintenance. Like, I don't like taxi. I don't like IR. Like, I'll just make if you want IR, I'll just make the roster spots bigger. So it's like, okay, if we got 26 and you want 2 IRs, let's go to 28. Like, I don't want to sit here and be like, oh, by the way, you started an IR guy, or you had an IR guy that was ineligible, and then you got people freaking out because you always have people in your league that just can't accept that this is fantasy football and somebody left somebody that ineligible on IR, and they have to make a big fuss of it because we're playing for $50. It's like, it's stuff like that annoys me. So I want to eliminate any of the BS that can pop up. Taxi squads and IRs do that. I'm less concerned about taxi. IRs I hate. Taxi I can live with. IRs is a firm no.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because I would
bigger.
Just make the league bigger. Shane, if you're still in here, thoughts on that for the Squirt League we just finished? Because literally this morning I was like, I guess we need IRs, mainly selfishly because I was like, shit, I have to drop like 3 people immediately. I was like, oh, I've got an IR person. No IR slots. So we were even going to go. I was even going to go with 4. So we'll see what the thoughts are after that comment. Okay, I got to put this up here for you. Thoughts on IDPs?
Man, I've
not for you.
I've never got into it. It's like I spend, and I think when you spend yours so much, like I'm running a fantasy football website. I'm just so busy. I got a full-time job. I want to just master the offensive side of things. If I'm adding defense to this, like I'm having to learn, it's basically learning a new language.
I can't do it.
To be honest with you, I don't, and this may be absurd to say, and maybe there's other people like this, but without fantasy football, I wouldn't watch football.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't, I don't love football enough to watch it without fantasy. Like I'll watch the worst game in the NFL history if there's a fantasy football player in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't, unless it's an elite game. Like if it's Browns this year, if it's going to be Bucks and Cardinals, and I got nothing on the line, like no, if I wasn't playing fantasy,
you're not going to watch that football game. Yeah,
but there's diehards that will. So I don't know. Do you disagree? Are you a big football guy?
No. So yeah, I am a football guy, but I hear you though. At the same time, if it's some like trash can matchup and I don't have any players in it and weekly, yeah. I mean, I guess we're talking about if fantasy isn't involved. I hear you, dude. I would be, let's just say it would be on in the background. But yeah, thoughts on IDP?
That's like baseball.
I would be in a gutter, I think, if I took on IDP or like Campus to Canton, anything like that. Like the amount of time I'd have to spend on on new things. I'd be in a gutter with a foreclosed house and all that good stuff. I just don't have time for that.
The college to Canton aspect, I think, is cool.
That seems very cool. Yes.
And it's a market I like those leagues. It's a market you could take advantage of because it's such a crapshoot. You could have the best players.
Yeah.
Like Booty from 2 years ago, and now like if you just fade the college players as much as possible.
Yeah, I would have to. I'll have to get Sharp review, Felix Sharp on here one of these days midway through the season. I want to learn more about Campus Canton. Izzy, talk about Dynasty Trade Calculator, man. So full disclosure, we are affiliates of Dynasty Trade Calculator. My favorite calculator by far, hands down. And that's not just because I'm a homer or an affiliate. Johnny Mack agrees. By far the best calculator I've ever used. I totally agree.
Appreciate it.
100%. But tell us what you got going on over there. We're not ending this yet, crowd, but I haven't let Izzy talk, and it's 59 minutes in.
No, you have. And thank you for telling me you're an affiliate because I'm about to sue your ass off because I didn't sign off on this DTZ banner here that you pulled from our site. No, So the question was, how did it say? So what was the question? I was too worried about suing you.
Oh, you're good. Yeah, and don't sue me. That'd be
Okay.
nice. Yeah. So Dynasty Trade Calculator. What do
Yeah.
you got going on? What kind of, I guess,
Oh, okay.
what is your role in the rest of the team there? What do you do as far as the calculator? Are you involved in like the coding or what?
No, not me. So I'm QA. I make sure that everything's. I look at the values and make sure that everything is pulling in properly, and there isn't anything that's funny business
Yeah.
going on. So I'm not very technical when it comes to like technology. Like I'm not a tech guy.
Yeah.
So when we first started this, Hurley, who's my co-owner, like we started it, and then we brought in John Mosier, who we actually met off Twitter because we
Yep.
wanted to start a podcast, and he was a big media guy, and we brought him in, we made him a partner, and then the thing blew up. Like we were first to market, we had a good product, we kept making it better and better and better, and now we kind of we chill. Like we're not hands on at all. We do I
Yeah.
might spend an hour a week just QA, just making sure I'm doing. You'll notice a lot of my
That's nice.
polls. You'll notice a lot of Twitter polls when I tweet. It's like because
Yeah.
I see something, I'm like, wait a second, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and I'll want to know where a player's value is. Like I'll just cross check a player's value by
Yeah.
putting up
Yeah. Yeah.
polls, and a lot of times it ends up being right, but I'm just like, wow, that's surprising.
Sure.
And we have some stuff. I will say we have some stuff in the works that is going to be pretty cool.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. No, I just, it always seems to line up with my head. When I'm thinking about a trade, I'm like, let's plug it into DTC. And obviously I don't use a calculator for 90% of the trades.
Yeah.
But what I do, I use Dynasty
Yeah.
Trade Calculator, like the most interesting man in the world.
Right.
But no, it's a strong product. Isn't only like $3 a month or so
$3 a month
as well. Yeah, I mean, come on, guys, and you can get a deal if you sign up for a year. Our promo code is in the description, but either way, just go to dynastytradecalculator.com.
And I
Let's
will say, my
go ahead.
co-owners, my partners have been trying to convince me to increase the price.
You should, man. You should.
I just refuse. I'm like, dude, you know what? I want to be a good, user friendly, a budget friendly website. Like, it's not a cash grab. Like, if you would have told me we would have been where we are, I would have been like, oh, that's a pipe dream.
Yeah.
It's like, so I don't want to get greedy. Like, let's just not. If we develop something and we put more money, which we're doing, and then we come up with a even better product, then sure. But I'm not just going to increase the price just because, inflation sucks. But I'm not just going to increase the price. And we did the grandfather deal, which was one of my favorite things. Like if you were with us from the beginning, you're getting in at $250 a month. You're getting at $5. You're getting at $10 or for the quarter, or $10 for the year.
Yep.
And like I want to keep that grandfather program forever. So if we go up to $25 and you were with us since 2017, guess what?
Yeah.
You're still at 10.
Yeah.
So I just like the loyalty side of things, and just like we're doing this for fun. Right. We don't need to bump up our prices just to do it. But I've heard that before. Hey, you guys can bump up your prices if because we've asked.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, for sure. But I don't
No,
know.
good for you. I know what you mean. I mean, if you get to a point where you develop something like crazy and you want to put a bigger paywall behind it, then that's one thing. But yeah, I mean, I would have no problem paying $9.95 for it. Just saying.
Okay.
Let's go. Although it may be tougher for me to sell as an affiliate. I don't know.
Right.
Let's go to that is a 1QB. Let's go to a super flex question here. Wait, somebody said 15 is lunch somewhere. Great price. Okay, let's go to this one right here. This is Koogski. His avatar, that's Gardner Minshew. For the longest time, I didn't even realize
Gardner
that.
Minshew? That's
I thought Koogski was just this samurai sword ripped guy. So I was kind of disappointed that it wasn't him. But
that's funny.
He said, I just sent a contender first for JT offered today as well. I'm rebuilding this year, but I feel like a good dice roll could always sell mid-season for a first plus if he comes back and is crushing. Yeah, I mean that's
I've changed. I pivoted on that, so I agree with that. I think that makes a lot of sense.
And here's another one from Hurricane Lane. A JT trade he got done yesterday. gave his contending 24 first, James Conner, Jahan Dotson, Sam Laporta, got JT, Dio John, Brandon Cooks, and Juwan Johnson. So basically got JT and Brandon Cooks is a little something if it's
I love Deontay.
Deep enough. Deontay, he's just a target hog, man.
Yeah,
he's just
a
hog. Yeah.
I think, I mean, the if it's tight end premium, the Sam Laporta
start 9.
Start 9. Okay. If it's tight end premium, Jahan Dotson, I love too. Although I think Dotson is a great buy. If it's tight end premium, I think this is a pretty close deal. If it's non-tight end premium, I do like the JT side quite a bit.
So you're a Dotson fan, huh? Actually, so I'm a Commanders fan for better or worse. I just got Saquon the other day. I gave Jahan Dotson what I hope is a late 24 first, got Saquon and a 25 second.
So say that one more time.
So it's a 12 team super flex, PPR 1.75, start 11. Gave Jahan Dotson and what I think is going to be a late 24 first, and got Saquon and a 25 second. I was rocking Rashad Penny and Deonta Foreman as my running backs, basically.
So here's the thing: if you're a contender and you add Saquon to that stable of running backs, if you have a dynasty team and you're just adding Saquon to that stable, I still don't think you're a contender, right? I mean, is this all you got at running back?
I mean, I have to pull it up now. I think is what I'm gonna.
I think you do.
Yeah.
So I don't love that. I'd rather have the Dotson and the 24 first side.
So here's my team. Let me share it. That's not the button to press, Clay. Okay, share screen, sleeper. Okay. So I've got Lamar. I realize I'm like so heavy on Lamar. I'm probably 25% Lamar, which isn't the worst thing.
It's good. I mean, it's a decent. It's good to have. It's the right person. It's better than having it be who knows, Dak Prescott. So Lamar, 25% of Lamar is good.
So Lamar, Saquon, Rashad Penny, Drake London, Marquise, Goddard, Ridley, Ayuk, Waller, Mike Williams, Fields. I know it's I like where I'm headed at QB later with Kyler, and got Kenny Pickett just hanging out. But yeah, we got Foreman.
Oh boy. Oh no.
Yeah,
it's worse. It's getting worse, dude.
Just a bunch of trash cans, on the bottom here.
Roshan
and Bigsby. Roshan and Bigsby are partying here over on the taxi spots with Sam Laporta.
Yeah. So I mean, you got some plug and plays, and I think Jerome Ford is a decent plug and play too.
Yeah.
Push comes to shove.
I hated even giving a first for Saquon, but I mean, like, it was at the point where I was like, I need somebody. Like, I don't know.
So here's the deal: if I need to plug in a running back, I don't want to pay up for one. So I'll go after a running back that,
like James Conner or something, like a cheap
James Conner, a Damian Pierce, a gamble on a Cam Akers that's cheap, AJ Dillon. Like, I'll take one of those guys that I could plug in and get points, and then I'll keep my 24 first and Jahan Dotson.
Yeah,
it's just the chances that Barkley himself added to your lineup is the reason why you win a championship is highly unlikely.
Yep.
It's just not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Most likely. Like, if you win the championship, it's not going to be because you made that trade for Barkley. It's because your team was good enough to win. And you'd probably win without Saquon, most likely. I found in my time in Dynasty, kind of analyzing things, one player, unless it's a quarterback that's high end, rarely makes a difference. So if you're going from not starting a quarterback or going from like a Mac Jones to a Lamar Jackson, that's championship material, because
that's significant.
You could be looking at 8 points a week added to your lineup. But Barkley added to your lineup could be 8 points a week. Yeah, it probably is 8 points a week.
Yeah,
true. But then you're also including the fact that Saquon Barkley is also playing a position that is the most fragile of them all. So it's like, I just don't like adding the running back as my is my piece, my final piece. I like adding a running back as my final piece, but I
Yeah.
don't want it to be at the cost of my future.
Yeah. So this year, I mean, I'm in what, like 24 to 26 leagues or something. So I guess I play it quasi portfolio ish. And I guess this is my third Saquon share. But I don't know. This year, like the way Dynasty is moving with the window is so short. Everybody says, looking at a 2 to 3 year window. I'm more apt, at least right now, and we'll see if I regret it, but I'm more apt to give up my 24 first if I think it's going to be, anything past 106. Like if I right now, like it's like, all right, I'm going to make a bet. I'm going to make a bet that my 24 first is going to be 108 to, 110-ish or something. I'm going to buy a piece right now and see if I can buy some points. It just seems like the way Dynasty's moving. Like, what do you think about that concept? How just the window is shrinking like crazy.
Sure. But I still look at picks as insurance policies. Like people have homeowners insurance, you have car insurance, right? For when
Yep.
you have homeowners insurance, and the likelihood that your house burns down is far less than you winning a championship, than you not winning a championship, right? So it's
Yeah,
like I
this is
like
true.
having that insurance policy because I'm going to need that insurance policy
Yeah.
in Dynasty more than I'm going to need it for my house, right? But
Yep.
we insure everything in our lives.
Yeah.
I just happen to like to insure my Dynasty teams. Like it's my insurance policy for when my team does not win, I have something that can replenish what I have. It
Right.
allows me to take a chance on having an older player in my roster and saying, okay, I got a couple old guys. I got a Devonta Adams and a Keenan Allen. I'll be able to replace one of these guys with this pick, right?
Yep.
And then still give me a chance to win. It's just you either build the team and it's good enough to do it without the picks, or you accumulate the picks and try again.
Yeah.
I just through 16 years of doing this,
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
noticed the teams that give up their firsts are the ones that set themselves up into a position where it takes them 3 years to build things back together because they now have to wait because they don't have any picks. They have
Yeah.
to wait till next year to even start. So it gives you the flexibility to always be able to pivot.
Sure. Sure. No, it makes sense. Okay, so we're gonna go for Izzy is another like I don't know 8-10 minutes good
Yeah,
for you.
that's
Does
fine.
that
Yeah,
work?
yeah,
All
it's
right,
cool.
rock on. So let's go. What is that? What is this? Shane is cursing at me. We'll see. What are your thoughts on Shane, by the way?
I love Shane.
Izzy?
I love Shane.
Yeah, of course. Everybody freaking loves Shane. I ask everybody that question too, who comes on here for collabs, and everybody's like, "Oh, I love
You
Shane."
know
Are
why
you
I love
kidding me?
Shane? Like Shane, I've been on Twitter for 8 years and I've seen Shane go through a lot in his life, and he's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
he's put it out there for us. I don't know a lot. I don't know many other people. I know Shane more than I know some people in my personal life, right? And what's going on with them. So it's like, I appreciate that. I feel like I have some sort of emotional connection
For
to what
sure.
Shane has been through in his life. And it's like, I like him. Yeah.
He's a great dude. He's my spirit animal and my life coach.
I love it.
Yeah. 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 Maybe I'm in trouble on that. Fly Meatwad says Shane is the best. Shane is cool people.
I want to know what a fly meat wad is.
Yeah. We've got this one guy who super chats. He wasn't here on Tuesday night and he's not here tonight, but Nipplefucker69 likes to come and sneak by our streams, $5 super chats. It just gets me to like fucking giggle while I read it.
This guy should
Fly
be hitting
Meatwad.
this guy should be hitting the buy button on that. That's an insta pick right there.
So 12 teams, start 9, Superflex, half PPR, no tight end premium. Give Ridley in a 24 second, get Burks in a mid 24 first.
And honestly, I do this
Day.
without the picks. I
Yeah,
do it without the picks. I do Burke straight up for Ridley.
right. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's a bunch of players I don't know what to think about this year. Ridley,
Burks is, I think Ridley is obviously gained a lot of steam, and I totally get that. But it's not like Ridley's 25 years old.
no, he's
You're
what,
talking about a
29?
28-year-old receiver. So it's like,
Yeah,
I think he's 20, unless he just turned 29. I'm pretty sure he's still 28. But you're trading for a 28-year-old wide receiver that sat out a full year on a new team with Kirk there and Ingram and ETN.
And
It's
his
like,
head is in a weird spot, and
well,
the
who knows?
gambling and stuff. I don't know.
I'm sure I'm sure that part's okay, but it's like, what is really my upside with Ridley? With
There's a lot
Burks, at
of
least I'm getting upside.
yeah. I mean, because Christian Kirk is very very legit. Evan Ingram, whatever, he
Yeah.
garners targets too. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not that in on Calvin
Zay
Ridley.
Jones played well last year. I mean, it's not
I
like
guess
he's the guy.
no, no, and I get so jealous when I see people trading Calvin Ridley and getting a first. It's like fucker.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
Yeah.
what a steal! What a steal! I don't care
Yeah.
what he does this year. Okay, so I'm gonna pull up another question, and then I gotta write one in here. So let's see here. Let's go to hey, quick question. How much fab should you spend early in the season as compared to mid or late in the season? I'm in a 12 team dynasty league. Keep 16, draft 4 each year. Love your
That's
channel.
shallow.
Thanks.
So when I first read that question, I'd say blow it early. But
Yeah.
then when you only have 20 roster spots and you're only keeping 16, you kind of got to spend wisely because more opportunities are going to rise later on. So there's only 240 players in this league. I would probably kind of keep it more mid to late because it's going to be more valuable. You can probably add a player that can help you in the playoffs. In that sense, if this is a 25 man 30 25 to 30, you're blowing it as early as possible and getting the guys that surface, because the guys that surface earlier are usually the ones that will end up mattering down the road.
That's a good call. So you're looking at the depth. The depth is making that decision.
Is this guy's is that him? That's a professional shot. If that's
He's better than you are at basketball, probably. Is he just came from playing basketball? This guy looks like he's probably better than you are.
Yeah, that's a legitimate photo. If that's a stock photo, it's interesting. I can't tell, the thumbnail's so small. I can't even tell if it's like a professional player. I just don't know who it is.
Yeah, reveal yourself, KM.
Yeah, I can. That's interesting.
It's very very strategic initials there
Chris
too.
Middleton.
Yeah, some
That's
monster
not.
in
It
the
does not look
crowd.
like Chris Middleton, but yeah.
Some monster in the crowd talking dynasty football. Okay, so here's a question for you. So I 1 second, let me hide this comment. So I ask everybody this question. If I hop into your whip, what song do I hear?
So I've been on I don't even know how to explain it. It's like the pothead reggae type.
Okay, sure.
Music.
Yeah.
So kind of like Sublime, what Sublime used to be for us, what the new kids listen to, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I came across a song, and I golf a lot. So when I golf, I like listening to that chill pothead reggae type music.
Yeah.
So I'd say right now, my favorite song that I listen to is by the Elevators, and it's called Gardenia. I think it's a great, and my daughter loves it. She doesn't know what the words are. They're talking about smoking pot, but she's 9, so she doesn't really get it. But she loves it too.
Nice.
So
Nice.
check that out.
Yeah, I just put in elevate. Okay, spelled ELOVATERS. Yeah, I'll check it out. Yeah, I'm on a big music kick these days, or at least for a while now. Used to listen to way too much fucking.
You look like a metalhead, dude. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Look like a metalhead?
You look like you just jammed out to like metal music.
I'm an old school hip hop guy. So like Nas, Tribe Called Quest, Wu-Tang. What? I guess Chronic 2001 is a great freaking album. That's about as mainstream. Oh, it's
I think it's the best album of all time.
Good.
I don't like new rap as I do like Joyner Lucas quite a bit. I think he's a really good artist. So if I listen to rap in the current form, which I don't love, it's probably going to be Joyner. But yeah, I agree with you. The old school hip hop's pretty killer.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good. All right, let's do one more. Let's do one more question, and then we'll get off of here. Let Izzy go on his way. He can start drafting up all the documents to sue Dynasty Trades in 5. DAZN, thank you for the question. 12 team Superflex start 10 PPR have Fields, Murray, Dak, Brian Robinson, Khalil Herbert, and a bunch of young running backs. Wilson, JSN, Mims, Flowers, Tillman. Give away Deontay Johnson and a 24 third for Mike Evans and a late 24 first. Okay, so he rang off his team there. Standard in terms of depth. I mean, ideal QB room, first off, right?
Yeah, that's a good, you don't have that top 6 or 7 guy, which I would love if you did, but it's solid. It's better than 90% of QB stables for sure. Maybe even more.
Yeah.
It's a good QB stable. Wilson, so Garrett Wilson, JSN, Mims, Flowers, Tillman. Give away Deontay for Evans and a late 24 first. So, my love for Deontay is well known, but you gotta take the Evans in a late 24 first. Deontay is 27. He is a type of player though that will last with time.
Yeah.
So I think Deontay at 30 is still going to be good the way he plays. He's got a lot of room. It's not like he wins with just like elite speed. He just wins with crisp, precise route running, and he does have good feet. So I think he can play to 30. But I don't like
he never has resale value. Mike Evans has never had value. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think you have to take the first, but
I think you do start 10, especially. You're adding more to your lineup here down the road as well with Evans if he continues to play football. I could see Evans retiring early. I hate giving up Deontay in this situation, but I get it. I can see why you'd make this deal.
Yeah. All right, so we'll put this off. Izzy, that is it for tonight. We have 140 people in here who joined us. Yeah, thank you so much. We have an awesome group. We tend to have like over 300 on our Tuesdays. They're rock solid freaking tribe. But talk about yourself. Give yourself a plug. Give yourself a shout out. What you're doing over at DTC. Go for it, man.
Yeah, so I don't do much. I used to write, and we just started our podcast again. I mean, we didn't have a podcast since January, and we just recorded our last 2 shows. So we got a nice cadence going again. So I had to coerce my co-host to get back on the wagon. So, but I don't tweet much on Dynasty. I'm only doing it if I'm trying to figure out what's going on with our calculator. But
yeah, we
do have some things in the works that could be pretty big. Could be
nice.
Oh, I don't want to say, how do I want to say this? Industry altering.
Ooh, disruption.
I love cutting edge. Disruption. I don't know. I don't want to disrupt things. I think it'll enhance the user experience. So stay tuned.
Okay. I like it. That'll work. Okay. So yeah, thanks to everyone who joined. Hit the like on your way out if you wouldn't mind. Easiest way to help out the channel. And yeah, I'll put a link to our collaboration playlist as well. But Izzy was our favorite thus far, of course, right?
Naturally.
All right. I'm gonna end this broadcast. Thanks for joining, everyone. We'll see you.